Today we're in Bloomfield, New Jersey. We're going to tell you everything you need to know about Bloomfield, whether you're thinking to move here or you already live here and you want to know a little bit more about the area. I'm going to give you a tiny bit of history just to give you a background, and then I'm going to tell you about some properties that are here. 3 properties, in fact, at 3 different price points. One at the medium price point, one above and one below. And that's going to help us to understand a little bit more about this area and help you decide if this is the right place for you. And if you like this video and would like to see more like it, please like and subscribe. Also, you can contact Greg and I at the numbers and the email address shown below, or feel free to arrange a Calendly video conference appointment with us. We'll be happy to talk you through your purchase or sale in the Bloomfield area. In the early 1800s, Bloomfield became a commercial center for the northern part of New Jersey. And so in this area they produced cotton and wool and shoes, and ultimately even at one point they produced candy here. The Charms Candy Company was formed here. And the reason I bring that up is because today Bloomfield is undergoing a transformation. That's why I'm standing at this intersection, in fact. This is the hub of Bloomfield Center. There was in 2001, the Bloomfield Center Alliance was formed, and the Bloomfield Center Alliance is made up of residents and politicians and local business people to revitalize this area. Where I'm standing, this intersection has been a hub of that revitalization. There are new buildings behind the camera here and in front of us, in front of you. And these are condo developments, they're townhomes, they're businesses, it's mixed use. And even behind us, we're going to show you a little quick 360 clip in a moment. But behind us is the Bloomfield train station, which has direct access to New York City. That train station has received a $51 million grant from the state of New Jersey to be revitalized itself. So that is a big deal, because that has a direct line to New York City for commuters. Once that's done, you're going to see this area explode. It's already exploding a bit. In fact, the population at 53,000 is up about 3,000 from the last census, and it's continuing to grow. But what we're going to focus on today is we're going to focus on houses, on single-family homes. So while this development is great and it's good for the area, we're going to show you 3 examples of homes at 3 different price points, so that if you're looking to buy a home here, you'll know what you get for the money. And when we're done with that, we'll take you around town. We'll show you a few key areas in this town. We'll show you, the great parks that are here. We're going to show you some of the great businesses. Bloomfield is one of those towns that is, I would say, up and coming, and is going to be a destination for people in the near future. Just to put an exclamation point on that, Bloomfield is right next to, number 1, the Garden State Parkway on the east, and then to the west is Glen Ridge and Montclair. This town offers a great value for home buyers because the median price point is around $675, whereas Montclair is over $1 million now. Well, it's 880 in one zip code and over $1 million in another. Glen Ridge is easily over $1 million. So for people looking for a good value and a great home, and also even some history and some culture, this is a great town to choose, right down the street from those other towns that I mentioned. And I think you're going to love it. Let's take a look. Here we are at our first property. Now this house is listed at $475,000, which is very low for this market. The reason that the price in this market, in this area, is a little bit lower is because the lots are a little smaller. The houses are not necessarily as updated. This one in particular has steam heat. It's got window air conditioning units. And however, what you'll find is these are a great value in this area, because there is, this happens to be on a dead-end street. There is a fenced-in yard, there's a detached garage. The property has 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It's 1,420 square feet. Again, that's where the value comes in. You're not getting a huge house, but you're still getting 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. one of the ways they do that is they take advantage of the attic and they turn that into a bedroom. And that's a really effective way. Turning attics and basements into usable space is a really effective way to get the most out of these smaller properties. At 1,420 square feet and the price point $475,000, believe it's about $335 a square foot. Now, I'm going to give you the dollars per square foot on all these properties today, but that's not necessarily a measure that we use in northern New Jersey to determine if the price point is right for a house. We look at comps of other houses in the area, and we look at the features, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, and other amenities that the house has. But it's a good way. You'll be able to tell this, for today's presentation, you'll be able to see the distinct difference. As the price points go up, the price per square foot goes up slightly, and it's really in line with what you would expect. This house is probably going to sell for more than the list price. It was priced aggressively, so when I said it's a good value at $475, I'm going to guess that it's going to sell for probably in the mid fives to high fives, maybe even more. And from the perspective of a realtor, it's probably a good pricing strategy because they sold very quickly. It wasn't on market very long. Nonetheless, this is the lower end of the market in terms of price point. And when we show you the other properties, you'll see, the reason that the price points go up. They're maybe newer, and the lots are bigger. They have more amenities when we get to the top price point. You're talking about central air conditioning and so forth. But when you buy a house like this, if you're able to get one at this price point, you can invest some money, you can put in central air conditioning, you can make the updates to it, and it's going to be a great value for you. It's going to provide incredible equity growth, and that's what's driving sales in this area. One other thing I want to point out is, this neighborhood was established probably, I think that this house was built in 1923 or thereabouts. This neighborhood was established in the early 1900s, so you get really beautiful old colonials, and you get old trees and things that make the neighborhood look lived in and cozy, and it's really a great place to raise a family, or you could be a commuter to New York City from here. You've also got the Garden State Parkway just nearby, and all the major roads. You've got Route 46 north of here and Route 80 north of here. You've got Route 280 south of here and Route 287 to the west. So it's a great location for commuting. It's a great location if you have family in this area, or if you work at a business in this area. And that's why a lot of people choose Bloomfield. So that's it for this house, and we're going to take a look at the second price point now. Hope you like it. Now we are in the Oakview section of Bloomfield, taking a look at the next property, which is listed at $699,000. This house is approximately 2,010 square feet, and I believe it's about $348 a square foot. Now, I said I would reference that. It's not something, again, that we use to measure whether it's a good price or not, but it's a good reference point for the three properties we're looking at. This is a Tudor-style home. It's 4 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, so 1 full bathroom less than the last property, but the property itself is larger. It's a little more refined. It's got higher end finishes. It's got a patio in the back, and the most important thing about this property is it backs up to the Upper Montclair Country Club, which is a golf course. So the property itself has almost a park-like setting in the back, and that is worth a lot to people when they're buying a home. The neighborhood itself, Oakview, is a beautiful neighborhood. If you will take a look around a little bit, we'll show you a couple of shots in the area, but it's full of old trees, old oak trees and other types of trees. It's a wonderful neighborhood to ride bikes in and to run around in and walk your dog. In fact, we saw probably, 3 or 4 people walking their dog just as we turned the corner to come here. Anyway, it's a great property. This is the mid price point, approximately the mid price point in Bloomfield is $675. At $699, this house is a good value. You get a lot of land. You get backed up to the country club, the golf course, and I think anybody who is looking to move to Bloomfield should check out houses like this at this price point in a neighborhood like this, Oakview. And by the way, the school, it's a high-performing school. Oakview is one of those award-winning schools, Oakview Elementary. So you're getting everything that you want when you're moving to a new area, and at what is considered a reasonable price point for this area. So that is it for this property. Let's take a look at the next one. Here we are at our third property, and before I tell you about this, just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, please like and subscribe, or feel free to contact Greg or myself at the contact information below. You can see our phone number, our email address, and you can even schedule a video conference with us on Calendly. Here we are. This property, our third property, is our highest price point. It's also in the Oakview section of Bloomfield, so it's close to the country club I mentioned earlier. It's listed at $899. Incidentally, this is also the highest price point in all of Bloomfield right now, which is a sharp contrast to the towns around it. There's houses in Montclair and Glenridge that are probably, I mean, I know there's some in, the highest price point in Montclair right now is $8.5 million. So just to put that in contrast, $899 is the highest price point in Bloomfield. Now this house was built in 1988. It's a custom, more of a modern custom home. It's got 2,420 square feet, and it's about $372 per square foot. It is also on it's on a corner lot, so you're getting a decent space here, but it is worth noting that this is a smaller lot than you get in these surrounding towns. As I've mentioned, the Bloomfield lots are generally, I would say, more like 50 by 80, whereas in some of the surrounding towns they would be more like 50 by 150, something of that sort. So the houses are closer together, but you're getting a lot for the money here. You're not having to pay over $1 million necessarily for a house like this. This property has 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Some of the upstairs surfaces are carpeted. It's a different style of home. It's not what everyone's looking for here, but it could be to your taste. So you don't have to buy an old Victorian or an old colonial. There are newer homes. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this was built in 1988. So there are newer homes here. Sometimes they're knocked down. They knock down previous homes. Sometimes they find an empty lot where there was a house that had a double lot. So there's not a ton of them, but you can find them. Nonetheless, you can see that this is a nice looking house. It is well maintained. It's in a neighborhood that has old growth trees, and you've got all the charm that you have in the surrounding towns and in other parts of Bloomfield as well. So if you're looking for a house like this, if you're looking for something more contemporary, you can find it here, and you can find it at a lower price than the surrounding towns. There are other things that this house has that the other houses didn't have. It's got central air. It's got heat and central air as a HVAC system. You've got more modern appliances and more modern amenities in this property, and that's essentially what you're paying for. You're paying for the corner lot, you're paying for the neighborhood of Oakview, and you're paying for the fact that it's updated and it's probably more of the current type of thing you'd expect in a new home, and more efficient, so forth and so on. The windows are going to be more efficient and newer, and all of it is going to be the type of stuff that you'd expect when you move to a lot of towns in the U.S. and you're looking for something that was built after the 1970s per se. So that's our third property, and we're going to now take a moment. We're going to show you some things around the area. There's a lot of really cool spots in Bloomfield. There's Brookdale Park. There is historic areas. Brookdale Park, by the way, is like a hub for activity in this town, and it is an enormous park. Incidentally, I talked about the history when we got started with the Yanticah and the Lenni Lenape Indians. That was where their encampment was when this town was settled in the 1600s. So now that is the hub of activity in Bloomfield. There's a stadium there, there's playground, there's tennis courts, there's all kinds of great stuff, and they have one of the best fireworks displays in all of New Jersey. Happens every 4th of July there. They have concerts. They have a concert series. I think Earth, Wind and Fire has been there. They have, you know, major acts that come in. So some of the other towns we've talked about, Montclair and Little Falls and things like that. You know, Little Falls, for example, the library is the hub of activity. I would say in Bloomfield, it is Brookdale Park. So we'll show you a little bit of that in our video clips, and we'll show you around town, and we hope you like Bloomfield. Don't forget, if you want to move here, if you already live here and you want to sell your home, feel free to reach out and contact us. I'm standing here at the entrance to Brookdale Park. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Brookdale Park is an important part of Bloomfield's history, but it's also an important part of the everyday life of people who live here in Bloomfield. There is, to my left, you'll see there's a bulletin board or a banner here that talks about some of the activities that are happening in Brookdale Park this summer. You can see the sign behind me over my right shoulder. But this is a central hub for activity in this town, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, everything from fireworks to soccer tournaments, regular soccer leagues take place here. There is a stadium where there's a track, and there's soccer matches that occur in that stadium and football games that occur in that stadium. There's an incredible playground. There's so many things. There's a dog park, tennis courts, there's a rose garden. I've seen archery tournaments here. So this is the hub of activity for Bloomfield. And I wanted to make a point to stop here and take a ride through and show you some of the details so that you can understand that if you move to Bloomfield, you have access to all this. Even if you're from a surrounding town, you can come here. It's not limited to Bloomfield residents, but certainly if you're living in Bloomfield, it's going to be more convenient.